Let's start with the most painful part of a small to medium construction site. You know what it is. Paperwork. Most construction paperwork doesn't actually start as paperwork. It starts as a text message, a photo, a quick phone call, a supplier update, a note scribbled on the corner of a plan set, a foreman saying, "Remind me to tell you about that later." A superintendent taking 3 pictures and thinking, "I'll put these in the daily report tonight." And for a while, that system kind of works. Until the job gets busy. Then the photo is on one phone, the note is in someone's truck, the email is buried under 12 other emails, the delivery ticket is folded in a clipboard, the daily report is still blank, and the one person who remembers what actually happened is already home, tired, hungry, and trying very hard not to open the laptop again. That's the part of construction nobody puts in the brochure. The building may be going up, the site may be moving, the crew may be doing their job, but somewhere in the background, the paperwork is quietly turning into a second project, and that second project follows people home. Welcome to Build Smarter. Today we're talking about something that might sound boring at first, but anyone who has worked around construction knows it's not boring at all. Construction paperwork, daily reports, field notes, RFIs, photos, emails, delivery logs, safety observations, change order details, meeting notes, invoices, follow-ups, reminders, submittals, punch items, weather delays, crew counts, that one thing somebody said they would handle tomorrow, except tomorrow turned into next Thursday. And here's the honest part. Construction paperwork is not broken because construction people are lazy. It's not broken because superintendents don't care. It's not broken because project managers are disorganized. It's not broken because small contractors aren't trying hard enough. It's broken because the information is scattered before anyone even has a fair chance to organize it. The work happens in the field. The proof of the work gets scattered across phones, emails, texts, folders, notebooks, apps, photos, and memory. Then somehow, at the end of the day, somebody is expected to turn all of that into a clean, accurate record of what happened. That's not a paperwork problem, that's an information problem. And AI might finally be useful here, not because AI is going to run the job, not because AI suddenly understands your crew, your subs, your schedule, your inspector, your owner, your supplier, and that one delivery driver who always shows up at the worst possible time. It won't. But AI and automation may be able to help with the part that wears people down. Collecting the mess, sorting the mess, summarizing the mess, and moving information where it should have gone in the first place. That's where this gets interesting. Because a lot of construction technology talks like the job site is clean and organized. It imagines a perfect world where every person enters every note into the right system at the right time, with the right label, using the right app, while standing in great Wi-Fi, with a fully charged phone, and absolutely nothing urgent happening around them, which is adorable. But real construction? Well, it's not exactly like that. Real construction is someone calling from the field while equipment is backing up. Real construction is a foreman sending 3 blurry photos because that's what he had time for. Real construction is an owner asking for an update while the PM is trying to find the email with the quote attached. Real construction is a superintendent thinking, "I know I saw that note somewhere." Real construction is a small contractor finishing the actual work, then sitting in the truck or at the kitchen table trying to reconstruct the day from memory. That's why paperwork becomes so painful. It's not just paperwork, it's delayed memory, it's proof after the fact, it's trying to catch details after they've already started disappearing. And in construction, details matter. A missing photo can matter, a late report can matter, a forgotten delay note can matter, a change that was discussed but never documented can matter, a safety observation that wasn't recorded can matter, an email that wasn't followed up on can matter. Not because everyone is waiting to argue, but because construction is full of moving parts. When the record gets messy, the project gets harder to defend, harder to manage, and harder to understand. And here's where a lot of people in the industry get stuck. They know the paperwork matters, they know the notes matter, they know the daily report matters, they know the photo records matters, they know the follow-up matters. But knowing something matters doesn't magically create more hours in the day. That's the part nobody likes to admit. A contractor can care deeply about documentation and still run out of time. A superintendent can know the daily report is important and still be exhausted by 7:30 at night. A PM can want every email filed perfectly and still get buried under urgent messages. An office admin can be great at their job and still spend half the day chasing missing information from people who are already busy doing other things. So the question is not, why don't construction people do paperwork better? That's the wrong question. The better question is, why is so much of the paperwork still waiting for a tired human to manually connect all the dots? That's where AI may finally help. Not by replacing the human judgment, not by pretending a computer knows what really happened on site, but by helping move the information. Imagine this. A foreman sends a field note from his phone. Instead of that note sitting in a text thread where it might disappear, it gets logged automatically. A photo gets uploaded. Instead of staying buried in a camera roll, it gets placed into the right project folder. A delay gets reported. Instead of someone hoping they remember to mention it later, a reminder gets created. An email comes in with an invoice attached. Instead of someone manually downloading it, renaming it, saving it, and updating a spreadsheet, the system can begin routing it to the right place. A daily report needs to be drafted. Instead of starting from a blank page, AI can pull together the field note, the weather, the crew count, the photos, and the delay comments into a draft that a real person reviews. That last part is important. A real person reviews it, because this is construction, not a magic show. AI should not be inventing project records. AI should not be guessing what happened on site. AI should not be making legal or safety decisions on its own. But if AI can take scattered information and help turn it into a clean first draft, that is not hype. That's relief. And relief matters. Because the paperwork problem is not just about efficiency, it's about mental load. It's about the feeling that the job is never really done, because the admin work is still waiting. It's about the superintendent who leaves the site but doesn't leave the job. It's about the small contractor who finishes work in the field and then starts a second shift at home. It's about the PM who spends the day answering questions and the evening trying to document the questions they already answered. It's about the office person who knows the file should be complete, but half the information is still sitting with people who are too busy to send it. That's why this is so important. The promise of AI in construction is not always robots, drones, giant machines, or futuristic job site control rooms. Sometimes the most useful AI is the quiet kind, the kind that says, that photo belongs in this folder, that note looks like a delay, that email needs a follow-up, that invoice should be logged, that field update should go into the daily report draft, that missing item should become a reminder before it becomes a problem. That's not as flashy as a robot laying bricks, but it may be a lot more useful to the average contractor tomorrow morning. And that's where we need to be careful, because this is also where bad AI content gets silly. It starts promising that AI will eliminate paperwork. No, it probably won't. Construction will always have documentation, because construction has risk, money, people, materials, schedules, safety, weather, inspections, owners, contracts, and surprises. Paperwork is not going away. Sorry. But the pain around paperwork might change. The late night part might shrink. The blank page part might get easier. The "where did that photo go" part might become less ridiculous. The "who was supposed to follow up on that" part might get caught earlier. The "I know somebody told me that part might have a record" that's the opportunity. AI doesn't have to be perfect to be helpful. It just has to take one annoying repeated task off someone's plate. Then another. Then another. That's how real change often happens in small businesses and on construction teams. Not through one giant magical system, through small repeatable improvements that save time, reduce stress, and help good people stop relying on memory for everything. And honestly, this is where small contractors may have the most to gain. Big companies may already have expensive project management platforms, document control systems, full admin teams, and formal processes. Small contractors often have a phone, an email inbox, a spreadsheet, a few folders, a notebook, and a whole lot of responsibility. They don't need more complicated software that turns into another job. They need systems that help them capture what already happened and keep it from getting lost. That's where AI and automation could become a practical advantage, not because they make a contractor look high-tech, because they help a contractor stop bleeding time through tiny cracks in the day. A missed follow-up here, a lost note there, a photo that never got filed, a quote that didn't get chased, a daily report that got written too late, an invoice that sat in an inbox, a change that wasn't documented clearly. None of these things feel huge in the moment, but stacked together, they become stress. They become late nights. They become arguments. They become lost money. They become the reason somebody says, "I know we did the work, but I can't find the record." And nobody wants to be in that position. So when we talk about AI helping construction paperwork, we're not talking about replacing common sense, we're talking about protecting common sense from getting buried, because the people in the field already know a lot. The problem is getting what they know into the right place, before it gets forgotten, misfiled, buried, or delayed. That's the job AI may be able to help with. It can listen for patterns, it can summarize messy notes, it can classify emails, it can help draft reports, it can move information between tools, it can create reminders, it can help turn scattered input into something organized enough for a human to finish, and that final human review is what keeps the system honest. That's the build smarter part. We don't hand over the keys and hope the machine is right. We use the machine to reduce the busy work, then we keep the judgment where it belongs, with the people who understand the job. That's also why the best construction AI tools are not always the loudest ones. Sometimes the best tool is the one that disappears into the workflow, the one that quietly helps the daily report get started, the one that reminds the PM before the missing quote becomes a problem, the one that saves the photos before they get lost, the one that organizes the boring stuff well enough that the humans can focus on the important stuff. That's not scary, that's useful. And for an industry where so many people are already overloaded, useful is exciting, because when paperwork gets easier, people don't just save time. They get a little bit of their evening back, they make fewer mistakes, they have better records, they feel less behind. They walk into tomorrow with a little less mess waiting for them. That may not sound dramatic to someone outside the industry, but if you've ever sat down after a long day and realized you still need to write the report, find the photos, answer the email, update the spreadsheet, and remember what happened at 10:15 that morning, you know exactly how big that is. So, no, AI isn't going to magically fix construction. It's not going to know your job better than you do. It's not going to replace the superintendent who understands the site. It's not going to replace the PM who knows the owner. It's not going to replace the contractor who knows when something feels off, but it may finally help with the paperwork mess around the work. And that could be a bigger deal than people think. Because the future of construction AI may not start with some giant robot walking onto the site. It may start with something much simpler, a field note that doesn't get lost, a photo that files itself, a reminder that appears before the problem grows, a report draft that starts before midnight, a small piece of the admin burden getting lifted off someone who already had enough to carry. That's not replacing construction people, that's respecting their time, and that's the part I think is worth paying attention to. In the next video, we're going to look at one tool built around this exact idea, connecting the apps, notes, files, reminders, and paperwork that construction work already depends on. Not as a miracle cure, not as a magic button, but as a practical example of how AI and automation might help clean up the mess that keeps following people home. Because the goal is not to make construction more complicated, the goal is to build smarter, and sometimes building smarter starts by finally admitting the paperwork is broken, and then finding a better way to carry it.